This last award is for something near and dear to me. It recognizes a special achievement in news literacy. If we're serious about combating disinformation, we also have to get serious about civic education and news literacy. I'd start in the first grade if it were up to me. Judges praised Trust Me for taking on the worldwide effects of disinformation and spelling out how to spot and debunk it. It shows how dangerous it is to anyone who scrolls news sites. They said it should cause all of us to rethink media practices by the unscrupulous. The documentary aired on PBS World Channel. Let's watch a clip.
How do we figure out if we should trust these websites? Today's topic is going to be minimum wage. This link is asking you to evaluate this website for minimumwage.com.
One of the first things you should do is don't even read the article. You can come back to it, figure out if you can trust these guys. We call it lateral reading. We want to get off the page we're on and open up a new tab and read laterally. See what other sites are saying about them, maybe check out their Wikipedia page to see have they any controversies, see what other fact checkers or fact-checking groups have written about them. In a minute, you can get a quick lesson in like, oh, should I trust these guys or not?
So I'm going to open up a search, and the first thing that I'm going to search for is the Employment Policies Institute. So this one says Corporate America's New Scam, Industry PR Firms. So I'm going to click on this. How the media fell for the propagandist respectable sounding Employment Policies Institute. Now, if I scroll down a little bit more, who actually is funding this think tank? It's owned by a public relations firm. And in fact, they were sponsored by the restaurant industry.
You create groups that look like they are legitimate grassroots efforts that are actually the products of corporate and political interests that portray themselves as a groundswell of the common person.
So why would the restaurant industry sponsor a website that says minimum wage is bad?
Because business owners, the restaurant owners, they don't want to pay their employees too much.
Absolutely, and the restaurants are sort of one of the key industries where we really see people working for minimum wage. They have put out numerous reports that increasing the minimum wage could be harmful, increasing poverty and unemployment. If I think about something like minimum wage, there's an election tomorrow. And what if there was something on the ballot about minimum wage? How might that impact me as a voter? That I might walk in and I might vote against something that I actually believe in, right? Or that I actually care about. So that becomes really important.
Accepting the award for Trust Me, producer Joe Phelps and director Roko Belic.
Thanks for extending your lunch hour. Yeah, I'm Joe. This is Roko, our good-hearted, extremely talented director. And I'd just like to start by telling you about the flashpoint for this project. I was standing in line at Ralph's Supermarket in Pacific Palisades, and I bent over to a little 5-year-old girl, and I said, "How are you today, sweetie?" And she grabbed her mother's leg, and her mother scowled at me as if I was a pedophile. And at first I was hurt and angered. And then as I thought more about it, I realized this woman consumes media day in and day out, and she doesn't have a clue about how to properly source and consume and share media, and it's rubbing off on her little girl, right? So that was what really one of the things that gave me the impetus to put part of my retirement into this project, and it's about teaching people. It's about somehow controlling mis and disinformation without using legislation, because of our penchant for free press, freedom of speech, our ability to legislate is so minimalized. So if you can't legislate, you must educate. If you can't legislate, you must educate. And that's where the people in this room come in, because you've dedicated your lives to finding and reporting on the empirical truth, right? So I do want to thank you, Roko. My God, it was so much fun working with this guy. And the people in this room who dedicate their lives to finding the truth and helping people understand how to consume messages. And to Annenberg and all the jury and so forth at Walter Cronkite. So thank you very much.
You guys, it's an amazing honor to be here. I'm not raised as a journalist. I wasn't trained as a journalist. And the first time I came to DC, I was in 8th grade on a school trip. And one of the guides we had, she said to us, one of the most important things about democracy is a free and fair press. And I thought, that sounds a little crazy. Isn't education important? Isn't justice important? Isn't the hospital system where I got my broken leg fixed, isn't that important? Now, since that time, I've traveled, and I've been to countries where there is no free and fair press. And I've seen that some of these countries don't have those other systems. And I realized that it's a free and a fair press that enables those systems to develop. And when freedom of speech is taken away, sometimes those systems that I care about so much, that improve our lives, are abolished. They suffer, or sometimes they're taken away completely. Now, I know that these systems are not perfect. We're working on it. But it's a huge honor to be in this room amongst the journalists, through the broadcast, amongst all people who are striving to make this a more perfect union. Thank you so much. Thank you.